Warning, this video is intended for adult collectors. It contains plastic collectibles, questionable opinions, and someone who knows a lot about Japanese spandex. Incoming random review in 3, 2, 1.
Before we begin, thank you very much to Sloan for joining the Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/TJOmega. It is always appreciated what you guys do for me because it allows me to do more for you. Because I love, obviously, we're almost at a year of daily videos. Obviously, I love doing this for you guys. And I would love to be able to continue, and you guys make sure that I can continue. So thank you very much for letting me still be this toy-obsessed goofball. I appreciate everyone who wants me to still be that. So, let's be a little bit of a goofball and talk about a modern toy that I was super excited about, because when this toy was first rumored, I honestly had very low hopes that it would be done appropriately, and it's done so much better than I expected. We are looking at Velocitron Override, based on Cybertron Override, or Galaxy Force Nitro Convoy, if you will. I never expected a Cybertron toy to get a modern version, especially not, this one of all characters. But a very deserving one. It is a convoy that's toy was not really up to par with the rest of Cybertron, thanks to a lot of the automorph weirdness that her engineering had. So, I'm happy that we got a brand new version, and it's a lovely rendition. Let's go ahead and take a good close-up look at this car mode, because wow, this is replicated exceptionally well from the Cybertron toy. You can tell the proportions of it have changed, but for the most part, the look and the shape of it is entirely there. Once upon a time, this toy was rumored to be a retool of Voyager Hot Rod from Studio Series, but famously, Hasbro has now come out and bragged about the fact that they managed to produce this toy with just 4 molds, which a Voyager would normally take about 12. So that is how they got it down to a budget that allowed them to get away with a brand new figure rather than a retool, and I think it was absolutely the right approach. The toy is cast mostly in white and black shades of plastic. Beautiful, beautiful red going all throughout. It's a really rich, vibrant shade of red. Red translucent there for the canopy. Really, really nice job all the way around. It just looks so much the part of Nitro Convoy or Override. Really love how it looks. Now, we can compare paint jobs a little bit, and I'll talk my grievances with the paint jobs later on. I will say it is painted very well. There's a lot of little details worked in, a lot of surfaces that are painted exceptionally well and very heavily, especially like here in the front. This is all paint. Very nicely done. I could definitely have used the paint on the headlights, which is missing in this version. And all of this whole engine section and these little support wings, these little airfoils, those should have been more appropriately painted. They should have been painted at all. So that's a little bit of an issue. Also, as long as we're talking about things that are lacking for the original toy, I do wish the guns could flip out and face forward. They cannot on this version because the gun was kept far too narrow to do that. The upside to that is it does function better as a handheld weapon than the original one did. But it does come at the cost of not being as fully featured as that one was. I really wish there was a solution worked into the engineering here. If you do want to arm her up, though, you do have a 5mm port here at the top. And if you can use them, 5mm ports right here underneath the front of the car mode. So technically, yeah, you've got a few points of that you can work with. Also, these are 3mm compatible. So if you have engine effects that you want to be blasting off behind her, like she's dashing, nitro boosting, you can do that. What you can also do, and this is super cool, you can actually plug in a cyber key. Now in this mode, these guns are going to get in the way. I wish I had a cyber key on me to demonstrate it, but the slot is molded in to actually accept and hold on to a cyber key. So if you've got one lying around since 2004 or 5, you can actually do that. Oh, I can hear the 3D printers revving up already. It's actually the one in the back room right now. I'm kind of working on a project. So, and everything else on this toy, I would say is fine. Like, it's a much narrower form. It's definitely a one-seater now, much narrower in the midsection, but it doesn't look bad. It still looks like very Mach 5-esque. Someone suggested this be the retool for a Mach 5, and I can't really argue that. Yeah, and I really actually like the use of translucent in this toy. Mostly. I do like it in the wheels because that is traditional. Velocitron characters had translucent wheels. That was a thing. So, alright, I will give it to you there. And I don't really worry about, like, the wheels bearing much stress, you know? So, let's get this girl, or guy, depending on which fiction you follow, into robot mode, and we'll see just how good things came out. First off, we will wiggle off the rear engine section, put that to the side, and begin the transformation process. If I can remember, it's been a hot minute since I transformed this. I'm just going to start breaking up panels. How about that? As usual with me transforming these toys, this is not a cohesive guide to actually like how to transform it. We're just going to transform it just to show you how it all functions. This part, very tight. That's a very, like, I'm used to these, like these hinges just like loosely snapping or tabbing into place. That's a hefty little snap in order to make that connection. Fold feet out, fold this up, and then fold all this over, and that's going to lock into the back. This is new engineering for this toy. These are tricks that the original just did not do. So it's not just a rehash, even though there are similar transformation elements. There's some plenty new ideas going on here, which is always good to see. All right, so let's get these arms out of the way. And by that, I mean let's get them into their proper position. All right, like so. Now we need to accordion and rotate everything into its final destination. You're either making a horror movie joke at that reference or a Smash Brother joke. Either way, I appreciate you. All right, so unclip from one side, swing them up like so. Make sure all that in the back clicks. You're going to want to press all this together. Let's see if I can get... I just realized how horribly out of position all this is. I apologize. So yeah, so just in case you missed it, snap in the back like that. All this swung up like so. Hinge all this down. And I'm going to close all these things together once we get it all lined up. So these hinges need to go like that. So all this is flush with each other. When you press it all in, these tabs go into that slot. Apologize for being out of focus there. Just kind of squeeze the whole torso together. Give it a bit of a wiggle. That'll help, usually. Like so. All right. And beyond that, just rotate the arms into the correct final positions. And that's going to give us our completed Nitro Convoy / Override. In a transformation that has enough going on to be reminiscent of her original toy, but also full of new tricks as well. It's satisfying. I really like how it reminds me of the original without doing any of the follies of the original toy. And then it has extra engineering of its own, not only to create a more interesting transformation, but also just look at it. It's so much more show accurate than the original one was. You know, and it really does kind of like, it does kind of push my idea that gimmicks hinder the action figure side of a Transformer a lot of the times, and this is a major example. Nitro Convoy Override definitely needed another go-around, and this is a very, very good one. So, as we usually do with these reviews, we're going to start at the head sculpt, which is very, very well done. You can see the color tones on the head very much go toward the live convoy demonstration model rather than the override. So we're going cartoon accurate here, which is definitely a good thing. No orange face this time around. Nice and gold. Very nice shining blue eyes with paint on them. That's the part about the translucent I do not like, because it's a ball joint holding the head in place on translucent back of the head thing. So they do this to create light piping, but they painted her eyes, so I think that's a misstep, personally. I think you did something wrong there. But as long as it's not like bearing too much stress, I don't really think the head's gonna fly off. And the head here is not too like tight or anything, so should be fine. Should be fine. Alright, so with that out of the way, one more look at the proportions before we get into individual parts. Just look at how like smooth she is. Look at how nice everything is. Like, you can put that side by side by the animation model and it's just going to look correct. I love the look of this toy. And look at that. Look at that. So on the back side, you need to be aware of two things. One, there is no backside. This is one of the cleanest Transformers I've seen in a long time. The only thing that she has for backpack is just her back. Just like the panel that holds parts of her together. That's it. Really, really well done. Also, big heel spurs. So she has plenty of balance as well. So, great. Great. This is exactly what I like to see. Right? The only thing I like sticking out the back on a Transformer are the heel spurs. And this does a really good job of them. So, taking a closer look, nice bit of gold there on the windshield, making a very nice, vibrant look to the chest. Gold details on the shoulders as well as the arms. Some two-tone plastic there, the upper and lower bicep. All this paint from the vehicle mode coming through really nice, making the robot look nice and dynamic. Again, there's a few paint apps missing compared to the original toy, but it still manages to look really, really, really nice. So, credit where credit's due. It's a nice, nice looking toy. So, articulation wise, the head does rotate all the way around. Not too much up and down, but it's trying anyway. Universal shoulders, very, very nicely done. Bicep, 180, 90-degree elbow, wrist rotation. Beautiful, love to see it. The waist does get obstructed by that panel. That's the one thing about this toy's articulation that really does bug me, especially because this section of the panel looks like it absolutely could have been designed to have a hinge going through here and flip up to get out of the way of the waist joint. So I feel like it had room to be a little bit more articulated, and due to like keeping the part cost down, it missed out on that, unfortunately. Universal hips, thigh swivel, all that works well. Look at the bend beyond 90 degree, and then ankle tilt as well, and a little bit of up and down. That's always good to see. She has a ton of articulation going for her. Really, really love to see it. She has a lot going for her in posability. Outside of that waist, yeah, she's doing a fantastic job, looking exceptionally good. Now, I will admit, she's not... She feels great. I'll say this. The engineering on this feels great. Out of a lot of modern figures I've felt, this one is definitely the most solid. Most of the joints hold their... all of the joints hold their position really well. But they all feel really solid. They all feel nice and tight. It's just like this perfect feel and tolerance to them. And all the connection points are really like... they have like good solid clicks and chunks to them. The downside of this toy is, yes, it's a $30 figure. And hang on. Before we get into that, here, let me just show you what else you're getting. You are getting the gun that works the way her original did. You just do it manually now. And it looks good. 2 double barrel, painted the barrels. Nice. Handle under here. You can also fold these little fins on hinges. So you actually do have a little bit of range as far as... a little bit of customizing you can do. Also, this has better access to these 5mm ports on the sides of her legs if you want to use them for anything. Just to make sure we got all of the features out of the way here before we go into the fact that she's being sold at a Voyager price point when she is very clearly a deluxe. There might be a little bit more paint than your average deluxe on this toy, but generally I don't see where the money went, especially when Hasbro flat out admits that they only needed 4 molds to produce the toy rather than 12, which tells me that A, there's a lot less labor involved in putting it together, and B, there is less of the tooling required, which means less steel required. For those who don't know, making those big steel molds to produce a toy, that's generally one of the most expensive things about toy production. So to go from 12 to 4 tells me a lot of money was saved in making this figure that doesn't reflect in the final product. I feel like she should have come with extra accessories, weapons, the cyber key, even if it's just like dual, even if you just put like a handle on the back and call it a shield. Like, I feel like the cyber key should have been included. I feel like, some blast effects should have been included. I feel like maybe an extra head, so you could have actually had like toy accurate override if you wanted that. Or just like all the most accurate paint details. Like, I feel like there's budget missing out here that could have gone somewhere, because here's Blur. So you can see she's just a little bit bigger than your average deluxe class. But if I put her next to like Optimus Prime, who this cuts off in frame, you can definitely tell there's a massive discrepancy, right? And this one has a far more complex and involved transformation with a lot more parts and a lot more assembly than Override does. So I kind of feel like Hasbro, in bragging about how few molds it took to produce the toy, is also giving away just how overpriced the toy is for what they produced it for. I feel like this should have either been like a generous deluxe, or it should have been a Voyager that went all out. I didn't get either of those. So, yeah. That's basically the review and all I can say. It's a fantastic figure. It looks great. It functions great. Aside from one point of articulation I think could have been better, this toy is doing exceptional things and it feels really good. I'm just not quite seeing where the Voyager price point is in her. For me, I'm a Cybertron fanboy. I'm going to pay that extra, and I'm still going to be happy with the toy. I can see where a lot of people might not see the value in it, because you'd have to have a more personal connection to it than, just, oh, it looks cool. So whether or not it's worth the price, I will leave to you. That is what these reviews are for, to inform you of my opinion, so it can better inform your purchases. That's what I'm going for here. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy your Override, perfectly fine. I'm glad you do. I do think she is a under-delivered package, and in a weird way, over-delivered on the toy itself. Somewhere in my head, that makes sense. So I hope you can find the logic in that, and, hopefully it helps in your purchasing decisions.
Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.